All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning, I'm Sunil Verma and with me is Subhadra Ramachandran. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to inaugurate Institute of Petrochemicals Technology in Jaipur today. To also lay foundation stone of 4 new medical colleges in Rajasthan. Cabinet approves continuation of PM Poshan scheme in schools for 5 more years. Also clears doubling of Neemuch-Ratlam railway line in Madhya Pradesh and Rajkot-Kanalus line in Gujarat. Centre approves capital infusion of 4,400 crore rupees into ECGC to boost export sector. Defence Acquisition Council clears proposals worth over 13,000 crore rupees for armed forces. Niti Aayog member Dr. V.K. Paul says safe festivities will be determining factor in fight against COVID-19. Schools in Mumbai to resume offline classes of 8th to 12th standard from Monday. Final decision on reopening of schools in Delhi for classes 6 to 8 to be taken after festival season. Former Afghanistan officials announce Amrullah Saleh-led government in exile. And in IPL cricket, Royal Challengers Bangalore beat Rajasthan Royals by 7 wickets in Dubai. As the nationwide free COVID-19 vaccination campaign at government facilities for those above 18 years is underway, we advise our young listeners to get vaccinated and also help others get vaccinated. We also advise our listeners not to lower their guard as COVID-19 remains a threat to our health. Please stay at home unless it is essential to go out and continue to follow these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing and focus on hand and face hygiene. For any COVID-related information and guidance, contact national helpline numbers 011 2397 8046 and 1075. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate CIPET, Institute of Petrochemicals Technology in Jaipur at 11 a.m. today through video conferencing. Mr. Modi will also lay the foundation stone of 4 new medical colleges in Banswara, Sirohi, Hanumangarh and Dausa districts of Rajasthan. These medical colleges have been sanctioned under the centrally sponsored scheme for establishment of new medical colleges attached with district or referral hospitals. Preference to set up medical colleges is given to undeserved, backward and aspirational districts. Under 3 phases of the scheme, 157 new medical colleges have been approved across the nation. Together with the government of Rajasthan, the central government has established CIPET, Institute of Petrochemicals Technology in Jaipur. It is self-sustainable and dedicatedly serves the needs of the petrochemical and allied industries. It will provide education to youth to become skilled technical professionals. Union Minister Mansukh Mandavia and Rajasthan Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot will also be present on the occasion.
The Union Cabinet has approved continuation of centrally sponsored national scheme for PM Poshan in schools for 5 more years till 2025-2026. The scheme has been approved with a financial outlay of 54,062 crore rupees from the central government and 31,733 crore rupees from state governments and union territory administrations. Speaking to reporters after the cabinet meeting yesterday, Information and Broadcasting Minister Anurag Thakur said the total budget of the scheme will be 1,30,795 crore rupees.
प्रधानमंत्री पोषण शक्ति निर्माण योजना को शुरू किया जाएगा। इस योजना के माध्यम से सरकारी स्कूलों में जाने वाले विद्यार्थियों को या गवर्नमेंट एडेड स्कूल हो उसके विद्यार्थियों को भी ऐसे 11,20,000 से ज्यादा स्कूलों के करोड़ों विद्यार्थियों को दोपहर का भोजन भी मिलेगा और 5 वर्ष तक चलने वाली पीएम पोषण में 1,31,000 करोड़ रुपए का व्यय होगा।
The centrally sponsored scheme covers all school children studying in classes 1st to 8th of government and government-aided schools. The earlier name of the scheme was National Scheme for Midday Meal in Schools, popularly known as Midday Meal Scheme. Speaking to media persons, Railways Minister Ashwini Vaishnav said the Cabinet also gave nod to the doubling of Nimach-Ratlam railway line in Madhya Pradesh. Along with it, approval was also given to the doubling of Rajkot-Kanalus railway line in Gujarat.
माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने आज रेलवे के दो महत्वपूर्ण प्रकल्पों का अनुमोदन किया कैबिनेट मीटिंग में। पहला प्रोजेक्ट है मध्य प्रदेश में नीमच रतलाम रेलवे लाइन। ये रेलवे लाइन सिंगल लाइन है। 134 किलोमीटर की इस लाइन को 1096 करोड़ रुपए के इन्वेस्टमेंट से डबल किया जाएगा। लाइन की डबलिंग होने से उस क्षेत्र के उद्योगों में, विशेषकर सीमेंट इंडस्ट्री, आपके वहाँ लाइमस्टोन की इंडस्ट्री, प्लस वहाँ टूरिज्म और वहाँ की जो कल्चरल हेरिटेज है, उस सब एक्टिविटीज को एक बहुत बड़ा महत्वपूर्ण बढ़ावा मिलेगा और लोगों को फैसिलिटीज बेटर मिलेगी। दूसरा प्रोजेक्ट है गुजरात में राजकोट कानालूस लाइन। इस प्रोजेक्ट का भी डबलिंग का अनुमोदन किया माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने। 111 किलोमीटर की इस लाइन पे 1080 करोड़ रुपए का इन्वेस्टमेंट होगा।
The Cabinet has also approved 4,400 crore rupees investment in ECGC Limited, formerly known as Export Credit Guarantee Corporation of India Limited, over the period of 5 years to provide support to exporters as well as banks. Briefing media, Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal said capital infusion and planned initial public offering IPO to increase ECGC's underwriting capacity up to 88,000 crore and propel additional exports of 5.28 lakh crore over a 5-year period.
जब छोटे निर्यातक एक्सपोर्ट करते हैं तो वो चाहते हैं कि उसका एक इंश्योरेंस कवर भी हो। ऐसी परिस्थिति में उनको पेमेंट के लिए इंश्योरेंस की सुविधा सरकार की एक कंपनी ECGC देती है। उसको 4,400 करोड़ रुपए एडिशनल कैपिटल इन्फ्यूजन करने का निर्णय कैबिनेट ने लिया। ये 4,400 करोड़ रुपए डालने से लगभग 88,000 करोड़, तो 20 गुना उसके ऊपर हम कवर दे सकते हैं। तो लगभग इसका इम्पैक्ट 3 लाख करोड़ तक के एक्सपोर्ट्स को कवर करने का एक साधन बनेगा। ECGC को और एक समृद्ध संस्था बनाएगा।
It will help create 59 lakh new jobs, including 2.6 lakh in formal sector. This decision is part of a series of export-related schemes and initiatives taken by the government over the last few years. Extension of Foreign Trade Policy 2015-2020 has been cleared up to 31st March next year. The Cabinet has also decided to release 56,027 crore rupees this month to liquidate all pending arrears. These measures will provide a boost to the export sector. The government has also approved listing of Export Credit Guarantee Corporation Limited through the initial public offer on the stock exchange. The centre also gave its nod to the continuation of National Export Insurance Account NEIA scheme, an infusion of 1,650 crore grant in aid over 5 years.
Defence Acquisition Council DAC, headed by Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, has approved proposals of modernisation and operational needs of the Indian Armed Forces amounting to 13,165 crore rupees. Key approvals include helicopters, guided munition and rocket ammunition. The DAC has accorded approval for procurement of 25 ALH Mark III helicopters from Hindustan Aeronautics Limited under Buy Indian, designed, developed and manufactured category at a cost of 3,850 crore rupees to improve its integral lift capability, ensuring its operational preparedness. This was done to continue the thrust towards Atmanirbhar Bharat and Make in India.
You are listening to the morning news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to inaugurate Institute of Petrochemicals Technology in Jaipur today, to also lay foundation stone of 4 new medical colleges in Rajasthan. Cabinet approves continuation of PM Poshan scheme in schools for 5 more years. Also clears doubling of Nimach-Ratlam railway line in Madhya Pradesh and Rajkot-Kanalus line in Gujarat. Centre approves capital infusion of 4,400 crore rupees into ECGC to boost export sector. Defence Acquisition Council clears proposals worth over 13,000 crore rupees for armed forces. Niti Aayog member Dr. V.K. Paul says safe festivities will be a determining factor in fight against COVID-19. Schools in Mumbai to resume offline classes of 8th to 12th standard from Monday. final decision on reopening of schools in Delhi for classes 6 to 8 to be taken after festival season. Former Afghanistan officials announced Amrullah Saleh led government in exile. And in IPL cricket, Royal Challengers Bangalore beat Rajasthan Royals by 7 wickets in Dubai. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो कुछ वादा करते हैं, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे। उज्जवल भविष्य बनाने की आजादी, रिटायरमेंट के बाद भी नियमित इनकम की आजादी, आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव आओ मनाए हर पल, एनपीएस करे बेहतर आज और पेंशन से सुनिश्चित कर।
1 अक्टूबर को पूरा देश मना रहा है एनपीएस दिवस। अधिक जानकारी के लिए अपनी बैंक शाखा जाएं या pfrda.org.in पर विजिट करें या 1800-110-708 पर कॉल करें।
In a significant achievement, India's COVID-19 vaccination coverage has crossed 88 crore landmark milestone. Till now, over 88 crore 28 lakh vaccine doses have been administered. The Health Ministry said more than 59 lakh 48,000 vaccine doses were administered yesterday. Member Health in Niti Aayog, Dr. V.K. Paul has said that COVID-safe festivities this year will be a determining factor in the fight against the pandemic. In a video message, Dr. Paul appealed to the people to celebrate festivals at home. Dr. Paul urged people to take the vaccine, wear a mask, and maintain social distancing.
Virus spreads from one person to the other. So when the pandemic is still raging, therefore, situation which leads to groups and gatherings is not good for us, because then we are giving virus a chance to again engulf us. This time, let us celebrate these great festivals, the great tradition of India within our own families, in our own households. Let this crisis be over. There will be many opportunities to celebrate festivals with the usual gusto, with the usual spirit that we are all well known for. Ye time agar nikal jaye, then by the end of the year, we should find ourselves much safer.
Schools in Mumbai will resume offline classes on 1st of October. Brihan Mumbai Municipal Corporation Commissioner Iqbal Singh Chahal reviewed COVID-19 situation in Mumbai and gave permission for offline classes from 8th to 12th standard for all schools in Mumbai to reopen from Monday. All COVID-19 guidelines issued by state government for school reopening will be followed in schools. More from our correspondent.
Maharashtra School Education Minister Varsha Gaikwad recently said in a press conference that as per the Department of School Education proposed draft to start the schools, classes 5th to 12th will start in rural areas and classes 8th to 12th will start in urban areas from October 4th. Srimati Gaikwad stated that it would be important to have parental consent to send children to the school. She also highlighted that no sports will be allowed in schools. She added that earlier a decision was taken to start schools in the state. However, it was postponed due to the increasing prevalence of corona and the risk of a possible third wave. Devopriya Bhattacharjee, AIR News, Mumbai.
Delhi Lieutenant Governor Anil Baijal has said the final decision on reopening of schools for classes 6 to 8 in the national capital will be taken after festival season. Mr. Baijal chaired a meeting of Delhi Disaster Management Authority to review the COVID-19 situation in Delhi yesterday. In a series of tweets, he said, as suggested by the experts, it was decided to consider opening of middle school classes from 6 to 8 standard after the festive season. He added that after a detailed discussion with experts, the need to strictly follow and enforce COVID-appropriate behavior was emphasized upon, especially in the wake of the upcoming festive season, to prevent any resurgence of infection.
In West Bengal, voting is underway for by-election to Bhabanipur Assembly seat, and polling in Shamsherganj and Jangipur Assembly constituencies will be held today. Polling, which began at 7 this morning, will end at 6:30 p.m. Elaborate security arrangements have been made to ensure that the polling process is free, fair and peaceful. Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee is contesting from Bhabanipur seat in South Kolkata for Trinamool Congress, while BJP has given ticket to Priyanka Tibrewal and Marxist Communist Party CPI has fielded Srijeev Vishwas. In Odisha, by-election to the Pipli Assembly constituency in Puri is also underway. Polling, which began at 7 a.m., will conclude at 6 p.m. The by-poll was necessitated following the demise of the sitting MLA Pradeep Maharathi of Biju Janata Dal in October last year.
Former Punjab Chief Minister Captain Amrinder Singh met with Union Home Minister Amit Shah in New Delhi yesterday. Later, in a tweet, Captain Amrinder Singh said he discussed the prolonged farmers' agitation against farm laws and urged Mr. Shah to resolve the crisis urgently with repeal of the laws and guarantee MSP besides supporting Punjab in crop diversification. There was wide speculation about his joining BJP days after he stepped down as Chief Minister of Punjab. He, however, refused to answer questions about joining BJP. When Mr. Singh resigned as the Chief Minister earlier this month, he had spoken of having his options open. Captain Amrinder Singh stepped down as Punjab Chief Minister after a long and bitter feud with detractors, including Navjot Singh Sidhu. IM Department has said that a well-marked low-pressure area over South Gujarat will intensify into a cyclonic storm. Fishermen have been asked to return to the coast by this evening and not to venture into the Arabian Sea off the state coast till 2nd of October. In a high-level meeting yesterday, Chief Minister Bhupendra Patel reviewed the preparedness of the local administration in view of the cyclone. We have a report.
Heavy rains continue to lash coastal region of the state even yesterday. More than 50 talukas of Saurashtra and South Gujarat region reported more than 2 inches of rainfall yesterday. Several dams including Bhadar, Machu, Ukai are overflowing following the new inflow of water. The persistent rains led to waterlogging in many places, disturbing normal life. In view of the possible cyclonic situation, all the 13 coastal districts of the state, including Gir Somnath, Devbhoomi Dwarka, Amreli, Junagadh, Bhavnagar, Bharuch and Navsari have been put on alert and asked to restrict the tourist activity for the coming 2 days. At present, 18 teams of NDRF have been deployed in 9 districts of Saurashtra, while 2 have been kept standby. Aparna Khund, AIR News, Ahmedabad.
Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal has said that COVID-19 has highlighted that supply chains should not be based on only one factor, that is cost, but also on trust. Addressing the 4th Annual Leadership Summit for US-India Strategic Partnership Forum, USISPF, virtually, Mr. Goyal said that no two economies and sets of people have the kind of synergy, brotherhood, respect for rule of law, concerns for the lesser privileged like the US and India. He said the effort is to make India produce high-quality products at competitive prices in areas of strength to become a larger player in global markets. Eminent philanthropist Bill Gates has congratulated Prime Minister Narendra Modi on the national launch of Ayushman Bharat digital mission. In a tweet, Mr. Gates said the digital health infrastructure will help ensure equitable, accessible healthcare delivery and accelerate progress on India's health goals. Replying to Bill Gates, Mr. Modi thanked him for the kind words on the Ayushman Bharat digital mission. The Prime Minister said there is immense scope in leveraging technology for betterment of health infrastructure, and India is working hard in this direction.
Former officials of Afghanistan who fled the country after the Taliban takeover last month have announced the continuation of Afghan government in exile. It will be led by former Vice President Amrullah Saleh. A statement released by the Afghan embassy in Switzerland said the Islamic Republic of Afghanistan is the only legitimate government of Afghanistan that is elected by the votes of the people, and no other government can replace a legitimate one. The statement read, after consultation with elders of the country, they decided to announce the government in exile. The statement said that after the escape of Ashraf Ghani, his first Vice President Amrullah Saleh will be leading the country. The statement has also announced their support to the National Resistance Front, the anti-Taliban front led by Ahmad Massoud, and has added that all the embassies and consulates of Afghanistan will be functional as normal.
U.S. Chairman of the Joint Chiefs, General Mark Milley, said there is a real possibility that Al-Qaeda or ISIS could reconstitute in Afghanistan in the next 6 to 36 months. At a House Armed Services Committee hearing, General Milley said that the terrorist threat from Afghanistan is smaller than it was on 9/11, but that the conditions could be set for a reconstitution of Al-Qaeda and ISIS. The top military official has appeared the first time before the Senate after the Afghanistan pullout. This is All India Radio giving you the news.
उज्जवल भविष्य बनाने की आजादी, रिटायरमेंट के बाद भी नियमित इनकम की आजादी, आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव आओ मनाए हर पल, एनपीएस करे बेहतर आज और पेंशन से सुनिश्चित कर।
1 अक्टूबर को पूरा देश मना रहा है एनपीएस दिवस। अधिक जानकारी के लिए अपनी बैंक शाखा जाएं या pfrda.org.in पर विजिट करें या 1800-110-708 पर कॉल करें।
As our nation celebrates the 75th year of independence, a series of events is being organized by the government as part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Let's listen to our special program, Azadi Ka Safar, highlighting the importance of the day during the freedom struggle.
आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव।
Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. India's glorious fight for freedom is one of the greatest struggles the modern world has ever witnessed. AIR News brings you a glimpse of the valiant struggle every day.
The present Nuapara district of Odisha comprises the area of erstwhile Khariyar estate, had always been active in the struggle for independence from the British. On 30th of September 1930, people of Khariyar estate united and protested against taxation on tenants during the civil disobedience movement.
In 1826, when the Khariyar estate was ceded to the British, Veer Surendra Sai of Sambalpur region fought to oust the Britishers from the motherland. The British gave warning to the people of Khariyar to stop supporting Surendra Sai, but the people did not pay heed and supported Surendra Sai in his fight against the British.
People of Khariyar region participated actively in the civil disobedience movement of 1930. It was on this day, in 1930, that the people of Khariyar state organized a meeting at Salihagarh village. More than 700 people assembled. Their ambition was one. A resolution was passed in the meeting not to give taxes and to revolt against imposition of taxes. This incident is popularly known in the history as Saliha agitation.
To suppress the incident, the police rushed to Saliha while the meeting was in progress. Police encircled the campaigners all of a sudden, lathi charged and opened fire on innocent people. Leaders like Keju Das Baba, Ramlal Deungan, Gauda Rai of Saliha and nearby villages were arrested and were taken to prison. Some died on the spot and many more were wounded.
Also, when Gandhiji was arrested after the launch of the Quit India movement, a number of meetings were held in Khariyar to demand the release of Gandhiji. The Quit India movement in Khariyar was intense and there was a widespread protest against the British Raj.
That brings us to the end of this episode of Azadi Ka Safar AIR News के संग. See you in the next episode tomorrow.
As part of the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, AIR News is airing stories of courage, valor and determination of unsung heroes of Indian freedom movement in our series Veer Gatha at 4:45 p.m. in Parikrama program. In today's episode of Veer Gatha, we will bring you the inspirational story of Ishwar Datta Tripathi.
आजादी के अमृत महोत्सव के पावन अवसर पर आकाशवाणी समाचार के कार्यक्रम परिक्रमा में गुरुवार को शाम 4:45 पर सुनिए देश की आजादी की लड़ाई में अपना अमूल्य योगदान देने वाले भारतीय स्वतंत्रता संग्राम के सिपाही की वीर गाथा।
In IPL cricket, all-round performance from Royal Challengers Bangalore guided them to their 7th victory of the season as they defeated Rajasthan Royals by 7 wickets in Dubai last night. With this win, Bangalore is at the 3rd spot in the points table, while Rajasthan is at the 7th spot. Today, Sunrisers Hyderabad will take on Chennai Super Kings of Sharjah at 7:30 p.m. The 5th edition of the Elite Women's National Boxing Championships will be held at Hisar in Haryana between 21st and 27th of October. This event will also mark the return of Elite Women's National Championships after a gap of more than 1 year due to COVID-19 pandemic. Boxing Federation of India BFI said the draw will take place in the evening of 12th October.
Football Club Goa eked out a narrow 7-6 victory over Bengaluru FC after a sudden death tiebreaker to make it to their maiden Durand Cup final in a gripping second semi-final played in Kolkata last evening. The game ended 2-2 after extra time. They now come up against local favourites Mohammedan Sporting in the final of the 130th edition of the iconic tournament, Asia's oldest and the world's 3rd oldest. And now let us take a look at the weather forecast for today. The national capital, Delhi. There is a forecast of generally cloudy sky. The temperature will vary between 27 and 35 degrees Celsius. Mumbai will have generally cloudy sky. There is also prediction of moderate rain in the metropolis. It recorded a minimum temperature of 26 degrees Celsius, while the maximum is expected to be 31 degrees. Chennai and Kolkata expected to have generally cloudy sky with moderate rain. In Srinagar, temperature will hover between 15 and 31 degrees Celsius. Jammu will also have mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. Gilgit will also have a mainly clear sky with temperature hovering between 10 and 36 degrees Celsius. Muzaffarabad will have partly cloudy sky with the possibility of rain or thunderstorm or dust storms. Most of the northeastern cities, including Guwahati, Imphal, Shillong, Aizawl, Kohima, Itanagar and Gangtok, will have generally cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers.
And now an overview of today's newspapers. 25% Indians fully vaccinated against COVID. Himachal Pradesh on top, informs a pioneer. Another 43.5% have been partly vaccinated, writes a paper. Health Ministry data show that in the brutal COVID second wave mortality, vaccines made all the difference, reaffirming the critical role vaccines play in protection against death, reports the Indian Express. Schools in Delhi may reopen for classes 6 to 8 after festivals, reports Hindustan Times. More students set to return to classrooms across states, writes a paper. Taliban writes to DGCA, warns India-Afghan flights to resume, headlines the Asian Age. Midday meal scheme is now PM Poshan. Pre-primary children will be covered, reports the Indian Express. The scheme to continue for 5 years, writes the Statesman. The Hindu quotes the Supreme Court as saying that a preliminary inquiry by the CBI into the firecracker industry revealed rampant violation of its ban on use of toxic ingredients.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to inaugurate Institute of Petrochemicals Technology in Jaipur today, to also lay foundation stone of 4 new medical colleges in Rajasthan. Cabinet approves continuation of PM Poshan scheme in schools for 5 more years. Also clears doubling of Neemuch-Ratlam railway line in Madhya Pradesh and Rajkot-Kanalus line in Gujarat. Centre approves capital infusion of 4,400 crore rupees into ECGC to boost export sector. Defence Acquisition Council clears proposal worth over 13,000 crore rupees for armed forces. Niti Aayog member Dr. V.K. Paul says safe festivities will be determining factor in fight against COVID-19. Schools in Mumbai to resume offline classes of 8th to 12th standard from Monday. Final decision of reopening of schools in Delhi for classes 6 to 8 to be taken after festival season. Former Afghanistan officials announced Amrullah Saleh-led government in exile. And in IPL cricket, Royal Challengers Bangalore beat Rajasthan Royals by 7 wickets in Dubai. And with that, we end the morning news. Have a nice day.